I'm going to ask you a few questions, and all of you need to answer these questions as deeply as possible, meaning that you're not going to give me shallow answers. You're going to go really deep inside your heart and find the right answer. The questions aren't that difficult, so everybody has to answer. Now, before we do that, people, I want to congratulate you because this was not easy. Okay, this is something that none of your parents or grandparents had to do. Because the last global pandemic was over 100 years ago. So unless your grandma is 101, they probably didn't have to go through this. So what you did is extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Courageous, extremely courageous. And I know it hasn't been easy, and especially for those of you who love people, who like to be out with people. Those of you who are introverts like me, didn't make much of a difference. So here are the questions. I only have 5 questions. And each one of you has to answer. And people, remember this class is about improving your pronunciation. So I really, really need you to focus on pronouncing properly. Now, don't get all nervous or anything, but pronounce as best as you can, okay? So that I can see if there has been any improvement from the first day of classes, sometime in March, in a land far, far away, and today. So my first question, anybody can answer, but everybody has to answer. What was the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? What was the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? And of course, I'm taking notes. What was the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? Who wants to be first? Oh, come on, people. It has been a good year. Stuff happened. Find the most meaningful. I'm going to start calling names, you know. I'm going to name names. Who's first? Ting marín de dos pingües de cucaramácara, titiri fue, yo no fui, pégale, pégale que ella fue. Tú te sales de la rueda con los panties de tu abuela. Mary! Yes, forehead girl.
Hi. Well,
No,
I think that spending more time with my family and realizing that there are many times that I spend doing a lot of things, and instead of being like with my family and so with them and things like that.
Okay, great answer. Hello, Isabella and Natalie. We're asking what was the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? And everybody's got to answer. The most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020. Who's next? Okay, so let's play a little game. Mary Lou, choose somebody who's going to be next. And each one of you is going to choose who's next. Choose who's next.
Genesis.
Okay.
Okay. For me, is like Mary, spending time with my family too, because last year my brothers are in the university, so I didn't see them too much, especially my brother. He was like, he get out of this house like at 4 a.m. and he came like in 11 p.m. like in 11 p.m. So I didn't see him too much. So this year I have the opportunity to spend more time with him. And also with my father, because he works a lot. So I didn't spend too much time with him. Like I spent it this year, like playing, talking, and all those things. So I really appreciate that. So that.
Nice. Who's next, Genesis?
And Lisa.
I realized that my relationship this year with my family is not the same as common people. That means hanging around with my cousins and tias and uncles. I don't do that. I don't like that. And well, I suppose that
Ah, senor.
I'm not I'm not no
An extrovert. Yes, you're not an extrovert. Mandisa, the question is, what was the most meaningful thing that happened to you this year? Leave the family alone.
that was I realized I was always thinking that I had a good relationship with my uncles and cousins, but I did not. I was like, oh yeah, my cousin do that. No, never. It's that I realized a lot of things this year. Nothing happened to me because I just stayed at my room going and doing the homework. So my brain, level up the way of my thinking, maybe.
Okay, so who's next, Mandisa?
Aranza.
The most meaningful thing that happened to you this year, Aranza?
Well, I think that was just making and stop on the daily routine and start thinking and questioning how my life was before this pandemic and being able to analyze and make decisions that will change my life and start changing my life after the pandemic. I don't know if I
Who's
know
next?
Eduardo.
Eduardo. And Daniel Sanchez, we're asking, what is the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? That's what we're working on. Go, Eduardo.
Wait. Okay. I don't know how to explain this, but I have always like not hated me. Let's say it like that. I always hated myself and always criticized myself in the mirror years ago. Wait. So this year
Sorry,
I
I have to
started
turn off
to
my camera for a second.
Go ahead, Eduardo.
the thing is the thing is that now that I know, well, I always had known that, but now that I'm certain that the thing we have in common that we are going to die, I gave a chance to me. So I'm trying to be cool with me. That's all. Stop hating myself.
That's really interesting, Eduardo.
Okay, Moises.
Okay, so can you hear me? I have like problems with the audio right now.
What's the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020?
Well, I think that it was starting to take more care of myself because I used to be like really sedentary. I didn't do much in terms of like exercise or that kinds of thing. And also like taking care of what I eat and what I think of myself. And I think that helped me a lot because it gave me more confidence and that's good. So yeah.
Who's next, Moises?
Layali.
I think that I spend more time with my siblings. In school, they were really annoying with me. And in my house, I have to help help them with the homework. That's nice because I spend time with them.
Okay, so it was nice that you had to help them with your homework.
Yeah.
Next, Nayali.
Marianne.
Well, I think that the most meaningful thing that happened to me is that I spend more time with my family. You know, my dad like went to his work early and came out late, and now like we are all together. And you know, some people didn't have the opportunity to have every family member with them during this time, and I'm very grateful for that. I will cry. Oh my God, no.
Okay, crying is good. Who's next, Mary?
Diane.
Go ahead, Diane.
Okay, many things happened to me this year, but I think that the two most meaningful were that I start to understanding more aspects of life in general, and I stay like in a constant conversation with my best friend like each single day, and anything has changed between us.
Nothing has changed. Anything means cualquier cosa. Nothing means nada.
Okay,
Who's next, Diane?
Daniel.
Daniel Sanchez, the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020.
Okay, I think that in this year I passed. In this time I passed more time with my family. I changed a little bit because I uh, begin to make exercise, and I try to. In this time I begin to think more in the thing that I want to do in the future.
Oh.
Like goals or something like that. I take me like times como, what I can say, un poquito de tiempo cada día.
A little bit of time every day.
Yeah, a little bit of time every day to think things that I want to do in the future or something like that.
Nice, very nice. Who's next, Daniel? Who's the next person? We still have Natalie, Rebecca, who is, oh, she's here. Natalie, Rebecca, Isabella, and Adrian missing.
Natalie.
Go ahead, Natalie.
Okay, this 2020, I had a lot of things, but I had time to think about my life and have like a space for me, because when I was on school I was like in a daily routine and I didn't have time to think about me and what things I would like to do, what things, you understand. So I had time for me and to spend time with my family. Mostly all days we take a time to talk and think about what are we going to do and those things. So that is a new like a new experience, because last year and previous years we were not supposed to talk like how we're talking today. So I am thankful about that.
That's wonderful. Who's next, Natalie?
Who's missing? Rebecca, I think. Rebecca.
Rebecca, Isabella, and Adrian missing. Rebecca, go.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I come late.
Okay, what's the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020?
Okay. The most, okay. I think that maybe to live alone. Like, I understand that I don't know, the adult life early. So I think that that this is like, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, the fact that I live alone is like I have to be responsible with my school, my house, to eat. Because when you grow up, you know that you have to cook because you need to eat,
Yeah,
not
got it.
someone else for you. So I think that this is the most thing that happened to me in 2020, live alone.
So between Adrian and Isabella, who should be next, Rebecca?
Isabella.
Okay. The most meaning thing for me this 2020, I think it that I finally got someone to help me with my problems, and I'm moving forward. Um, I don't know how to explain it.
But you explained it.
Yeah, and hanging with my family, the one that live far away, like Los Santos. Yeah, that's everything, I think.
Great. And so we have Adrian. What was the most meaningful thing that happened to you in 2020? Adrian. Hello.
Trying to think about it, but nothing really happened this year. It was just a year that went by. I read a lot of books and I did a lot of things, but nothing really meaningful that just contrast against the rest of the year. It was an interesting learning experience to do this like from home, and I heard that probably other schools are going to do this next year, so it's going to be really interesting how this goes on onwards.
Yeah. Okay. So my second question, and we're gonna change up the order. Each one of you is gonna pick who's next. My second question is, what was the most difficult thing for you? And we're gonna start with Mary Ruth. What was the most difficult thing that happened to you this year?
I think that adapt to learning some things by my own, because the time that the Zoom class dura
Takes.
stays is like very short, and sometimes when we are doing the homework or those things where we have like dudas,
Doubts.
doubts, and I think that that was my.
Okay. So you figured out that you can study on your own.
Huh?
Who's next, Mary Ruth?
Eduardo.
I'm not ready, but it was difficult to interact with people in public. That was scary. So that was very difficult. Like in the supermarket, asking for cheese or my order of meat, that was scary.
I understand. Who should be next, Eduardo?
Layali.
Okay, Layali, what was the most difficult thing?
I think that the most difficult thing for me was that I I was not eating well. Sometimes I eat a lot, sometimes I don't eat nothing. I think it's a problem that I have, but I try to control myself with this.
Wow. That's a good one. Who's next? Layali? Who's next?
Isabella.
The most difficult thing for me this 2020 was asking for help. I'm pretty sure it was that.
Okay. Good. Who should be next?
Natalie.
Okay, Natalie.
I'm still thinking, teacher.
Next.
I don't know if I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. So, what would you want to talk about? Or at least tell me who should be next.
Aranza.
Aranza, what was the most difficult thing for you?
For me, were like the trimestral exams from the first trimester. It was very traumatic for me to study alone. No, literally, it was very traumatic. I got to a point in which I had like a panic attack inside one of the Zoom meetings of the exams. So it was hard for me.
Wow. Who's next?
I don't know. Mandisa.
Mandisa? What was the most difficult thing for you?
I think it was being at my room and doing the same exact thing every single day. And in one point, I started, getting depressed and not knowing what to do else. And,
Yeah, you realize you didn't have to stay in your room, right? You could have gone out of your room.
no, that's the problem. I think back in those days, I was so used to not go out with my classmate that it became something that I'm used to. But now that we were in quarantine and everything, it affect me in a big ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thing like not myself, and I don't talk with none of my classmates. This is water. That's awful.
Who should be next, Mandisa?
Daniel.
Daniel, what was the most difficult thing that happened to you this year?
Okay, I can say that I control my time. Because in class, I think that, well, in class, no. In other thing, I think that I lost the time, and I think that the time don't reach me. Me cansaba.
Wasn't enough.
Was enough. I think that I put me more like lazy or something like that. But I control that. I control.
Nice. Who should be next, Daniel? There's Genesis, Moises, Marianne, Diane, Rebecca.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, what was the most difficult thing for you?
I think that start living with myself, like how I am actually. You know, when you're in the school or in somewhere, you used to start to know people, and you don't know yourself. So in this time I spend with myself, I start to know a lot of things about me, like some things that I didn't realize I want to or I don't want to.
Yeah. And who should be next, Rebecca?
Dayan.
Okay, I think the hardest thing for me this year was being able to sleep. I mean, I sleep like 28 hours a weekend, so it's pretty difficult to me to go to sleep.
Okay. Who should be next?
Maybe, who's missing?
Genesis, Moises, Marianne.
Genesis.
I think the most difficult thing for me was like all the school new changes because I tend to get stressed so easily. So I was like, I feel like a pressure, like I have to do this and the other thing, and I have to study too. So that that is it.
Who should be next, Genesis? There is Moises, Marianne, and Adrian.
Marianne.
I think that the most difficult thing for me this year was to maybe control my anxiety problems that I had because about it, I have to complete modules and not being able to interact with maybe some of I think some of my friends. It was difficult for me like to stay in lockdown and not being able to distract yourself, and it was difficult to control my anxiety plus doing modules and all that stuff.
Next, Marianne. There's Adrian and Moises.
Yes.
Me, I think that the hardest part has been not being able to like see everyone that I know. For example, the people at school, I can't go out, and also my father because I don't live with him, and so I haven't seen him in like a year. So yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. Adrian, most difficult thing for you?
Um, Once again, this year was just really average. But if I had to think about something that really like make me sad or mad or anything like that, I guess it would be like the death of a very of my favorite authors of books I liked. Like he died and he couldn't finish his book, and that made me really sad about it. I was really sad.
Okay. Next question is, tell me one thing you learned about yourself this year. One thing you learned about yourself. And we're going to start with Mary Ruth. Where is she? Oh, there's her forehead. One thing you learned about yourself. Hello?
That I am capable
Yes.
of doing everything I set out, que me proponga hacer cualquier cosa.
I'm capable of doing everything I set out to do. Google Translate was good.
Okay.
Who should be next, Marianne? Ruth, sorry.
Daniel.
Daniel.
Okay. I can say that I'm intelligent. That only I need to explode that plane or something like that.
Okay, you discovered that you're intelligent. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Who should be next, Daniel? It took you a while. You've been intelligent for a long time. Who should be next, Daniel?
And this.
And Lisa, one thing you discovered about yourself?
So I did not discover, but I said the fact that I'm too bossy and stubborn, that I don't like to do the things that, okay, I mean, if somebody explain me how to cook, I will follow the rules, but do it in another way. Basically, I don't like to play the game like less. No, less don't go with me.
So you just discovered that.
Yes, and I can tell that it's not a good way to act with people.
Okay.
Like that, I don't like them or I'm too rude. But I don't want to be rude. I just can't support people's stupidness.
Okay, Mandisa, who should be next?
Yeah.
Marianne? One thing you learned about yourself.
I think that sometimes I have like a passion for art, for dancing, for all those stuff that I was not paying attention to. Like I when I look for me in the future, I look at myself like participating in something that goes with dancing or painting or something like that. Aside from a profession, and I think I discovered that I discovered like a more artistic part of myself.
Nice. You can do both. I mean, sometimes people think you're going to be an artist or you're going to be a doctor. You can be both. You can always do both. Who's next, Mary Foster?
Aranza.
Aranza, what did you discover about yourself?
Well, I was thinking, I discovered that I could sometimes be very insecure myself, and that I'm very desorganizada sometimes.
Disorganized. Okay. Who's next, Aranza?
Who's missing?
Genesis, Eduardo, Moisés, Layali, Dayan, Natalie, Rebecca, Isabella, and Adrian. Who? Oh, Genesis.
I discovered that I really like everything that is associated with cooking. I am not that good at cooking, but I want to try and do like.
That's really nice. Who should be next, Genesis?
Eduardo.
Okay. I discovered that I have the tools to reach my goals, but fear is the one that is going to track me down. It's not like I discovered something good, but now I have my target. Fear. Now I have to fight against it.
I think we all do, Eduardo. We all have to fight against fear. Eduardo, who's next?
Adrian. Adrian.
Sorry, I was having issues here. So one thing that I thought about myself, or that
If you learned about yourself.
I guess I already knew a lot of that stuff. Like I knew about myself, but I guess I didn't really internalize it until this year, and then I was able to kind of improve from what I already knew, but didn't really realize completely about myself.
Who should be next, Adrian?
Who's left?
Isabela, Rebecca, Natalie, Dayan, Layali, Moises.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, one thing you learned about yourself?
That I love to compose music.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Who should be next? Oh, there's more?
No, Layali. Layali? Layali?
Yeah. Okay, I think that I discovered that I can control myself when I set my mind to it.
Nice one. Who's next, Layali?
Diane.
Something that I learned is that I depend a lot on music. I really enjoy listening to music. Like it can change my mood. And yeah,
Nice. So there's Natalie and Isabela and Moises left. Who's next, Diane?
Moises.
Give me a second. I'm thinking still.
Okay.
Well, I learned that because before I thought like if I could stay at home every single day, I would be really like the happiest person in the world. But when all of this happened, I actually realized that no, it's not really that easy to be alone and to not be able to see your friends every day like you do in school. And yeah, I think I lack that social interaction, and I realized that when I stopped having it.
Yeah. Who's next? Moises, there's Natalie and Isabela left.
Isabella.
Okay, I discovered that the fact that I don't know something doesn't mean that I won't know it for the rest of my life. I might discover it in the future.
Natalie, one thing you learned about yourself.
Well, I discovered that I can take my own decisions by myself because I was like, most of the time I was like needing to hear about someone else's opinion of what I want to do and those things. So this year, I discovered that I am able to take my decisions by myself.
Very nice. Last question, press last question. One thing that you hope will be different in 2021. One thing you hope will be different in 2021, or one thing you hope will happen in 2021. So let's start as usual with Mary Ruth. One thing.
What I want or what I think.
What you want, what you hope, what you expect.
Okay, to control my anxiety.
Yeah. A lot of y'all are dealing with anxiety. Okay, so to a certain degree, that's kind of normal at your age. So don't think like there's something wrong with you because
No, it's just this anxiety. It start when I start to feel like alone and quarantine and all those things, but I'm controlling that.
Okay. So who's next, Mary Ruth?
Mandisa.
Mandisa, something you hope will happen in 2021?
For the world or for me?
For you?
I hope to speak more like English.
Okay.
Change my personality a little bit. Yes.
Okay.
More positive.
Good. Who's next? Wait. Who's next?
Yeah.
I want to improve myself as a person, and also I want to learn new languages. I want to improve my English, and also I don't know, maybe learn Portuguese or Korean or something like that.
Nice. Who's next?
Eduardo.
There's always so much fun in Eduardo's background.
Repeat me the question, please.
One
I
thing that,
know the question.
one thing that you hope will happen for you in 2021.
Be nicer to people. Because when I get scared, I become rude.
You're a nice boy.
Easy. Okay? I can I can hear I can't hear
You're a
anybody.
nice boy. I don't think you're rude.
No, but when I get scared or uncomfortable, I just become rude and do ugly things.
You always act like that. So tell me who's next.
Hennessy.
I hope I can improve myself, and also I hope I can control more better my stress because it affects me a lot.
Next, Genesis.
Aranza.
Well, I hope that I could go visit like my grandparents in Chitre because of their age, they are like in risk. So I cannot see them. I mean, I hadn't seen them like since January this year.
Yeah, almost a year. Okay, who's next, Aranza?
Isabela?
Who?
Isabela.
I hope I can control myself when I'm mad because I usually get aggressive.
Okay, that's a good one. Who's next?
Becca.
Isabella, who's next?
Becca.
Okay.
I hope for 2021 get a job.
Nice. Who will be next, Becca?
Who's missing Moises?
What?
Moises?
Moises.
I hope that things become better, like with the whole situation of the coronavirus and that. I hope less people die. That's a good thing to wish for.
Okay. Who's next, Moises? There's Marianne, Layali. Layali, did you speak? No. Layali, Marianne, Daniel, Natalie, and Adrian.
Adrian.
So something that I want to happen in 2021. I guess it will be normalized to take care of yourself like people have done this year, like taking care of their mental health and just not going to work because you don't want to risk getting infected or something like that. I wish that really people normalize that stuff because a couple of years ago it was like if you don't go to your job or school and not being productive and you're not when you're always of space, So I really hope that people normalize taking care of themselves to a certain degree.
Yeah. Okay. Who do you think should be next? Natalie, Daniel, Marianne, or Layali?
Marianne.
For 2021, I really want things to get better too because I really miss my family that I haven't visited. We were like very close and then we only like video chat and all that stuff. So I miss my cousins and all that stuff. And I also want to like improve the relationship I have with other friends that I was not close and talk with them again like we used to.
Good. So who should be next, Layali or Natalie?
Layali.
I just hope that I see my best friend. I miss her so much.
And that leaves us with Natalie.
Well, I hope to finish my school in a good way and have new opportunities for my future.
Perfect. Okay, people, so this is it. See you next year, hopefully. And it was really fun having you in my class, all of you. I enjoyed listening to your audios. Those of you who were funny and those of you who were too serious, I loved all of it. And my only word for you would be to make sure you enjoy the rest of the year. It has been horrible, but don't focus on that. Make sure you enjoy it because life's too short to be angry. Okay, see you next year. Bye-bye.
Bye.